Hello and welcome to WeighPay. In this video we're going to cover Phase 2 training for our feeder yard software. Keep in mind that WeighPay offers two platforms, one for small feeder yards up to 1, 2, 3 locations. Then we offer an enterprise version for the larger companies that might have up to 100 plus locations and they need a much different system for buying and selling your metals. So let's go ahead and just jump right into it. On the screen you're going to notice I've got my WeighPay mobile version. This is because the majority of our feeder yard software simply can buy Samsung active tablets. These tablets are waterproof, dustproof, drop-proof. They come with their own SIM cards, so you can have a backup internet source, both for AT&T, Verizon, and of course they have a touchscreen where we can get signatures. They have a camera where we can take photos. They have the ability to scan a driver's license, to use it as a barcode scanner. A lot of power in the palm of your hand these days in a smartphone and or a tablet. Always recommending Samsung is what we've tested it on, so you can use it on other Android devices, but we always recommend that you buy the ones that we give you in the list. So logged on to the mobile application, you're going to notice that we can jump right into a ticket. We've got settings, we've got the ability to put modifiers such as to increase for bonuses, coupons, advertising, the ability to deduct for dirt, water, concrete, whatever, different tear containers. And so that way you can have preset tear containers on your scale and you don't have to manually add those up. Reports and inventory, packaging, finished good packaging, managing your cash drawer, etc. So in this video, let's just start with the simplicity of opening a cash drawer. And so I'll start a cash drawer for $5,000. Now I could have entered in the dollar bills and the cents if I wanted to get into the count, but I just went ahead and went with a flat dollar amount. So you'll notice up here, I start with this, and as I complete tickets, this number goes down, and I can add to my drawer at any time. So for this video, we're just going to focus really on creating tickets. We're not going to get into a lot of the settings or anything else. You'll notice that along the bottom, I have a ticket that's already been opened, and so I'm just going to go ahead and save and close that one so I can show you what it looks like to just go Start Ticket. And we have a bunch of different ticket types. Typically during your implementation, we will reduce the amount of buttons if you don't buy e-waste, or you don't do the sell side, or you don't do waste inbound tickets. You just do a buy sell. That's your typical scrapyard ticket right at the top. So I'm going to go ahead and just open that up, and you're going to notice that on the screen we've got the transaction number, the time, the date, the user. We've got a lot of compliance regulatory such as signature, fingerprint, driver's license scanner, face shot of the customer, etc. So the system is completely 100% compliant, and we can show you how to use either the onboard camera or use IP cameras that are maybe fixed over the top of the scale or aimed at your customer for face shots or for driver's license scanning, etc. So let's just start simply by selecting a commodity. And so these are in phase 1. We showed you how to set up your products and groups. We're going to choose brass. We're going to choose red brass. At this point, you typically would have your camera turned on, and the weights could either automatically be pulled in through your scale, or you can manually enter your weights. Let's just say we have 50 pounds, and let's say it's in a 6-pound bucket, in which case I'm paying $1.38. Now you'll notice that I do share on this screen for smaller organizations. They might want to know what their position is so that they would know, oh, okay, I can give this guy a little bonus because he brought me 500 pounds instead of... So we have a lot of different modifiers that we can get into in another video, but this here would allow me to change the price. Now we can put a password lock on this, so we can pull these in from the scale indicator so they're not manually entered. And we can also lock the price should you want the price locked out where your users cannot modify the price on the fly. So I would simply hit the enter button. Now one of the things that I like to point out in this video is the system was designed for you to go, either pull the weight in, but it's always designed for you to use the enter button as opposed to just mousing around. So this kind of thing, you'll notice that when I put down to the tear, it didn't enter my 56 pounds. So that's why it's important to use the enter button to then confirm the weights. And so that's your weight confirmation. Now if your scales are connected, you won't have the opportunity to use a mouse and move between fields. And on your tablet, it's very intuitive because you don't use a mouse, so it's very intuitive to just enter your weights and hit the enter button and let the enter button move the cursor through the gross tear net fields. So once we're here, we've got our products. This is all we're going to purchase. We owe them $105.77. We have a lot of modifiers on that. We can get into putting in-yard notes. We can get into deductions. We can get into all kinds of different options that we won't cover in this video, but we will go ahead and add a supplier in here. And so a supplier could be somebody that is already in your system and you've already scanned their license, and or you might want to scan their license. And so that really depends. But at this point, I'm just going to say that my customer was Adam Bryant, and I'm going to go ahead and add them to the ticket. I could select the edit icon, and I could go ahead and edit that. But from here, you'll notice I have an expired driver's license that needs to be fixed, but I can see here that it is green, and I could pay given even though it's expired. And so we have options for you to kind of protect the system from buying from somebody that has an expired license. And of course, I could go right into the customer file, edit that, fix it. But from here, I am going to print and finish because I'm done. I've got all my images, all my compliance, and now I can either just print and pay this. I can pay it if I don't want to print. I can print and I can email if the customer has an email on file. I can just email and pay and again save the paper. I could split this payment into two different parts, part cash, part check. Or I could just print a weight ticket and maybe I'm not done building the ticket. I want to come back to it. Or I can just save it without printing. But I'm just going to print and pay this ticket, in which case it's now going to ask me, how are you going to pay this customer? Are you going to give them cash? Are you going to give them a check? Are you going to pay this by a wire transfer? Are you going to send it to accounts payable, which will be in our phase 3 training video? Or are you going to pay it by credit card? So there's many methodologies. I'll choose cash as my payment type, and it's telling me that I needed to know the county and the state in which the red brass came from, and so that gets into compliance, which we're going to cover in a different video. So I just wanted to show you the process of completing a transaction and building tickets. Rather simple. I can just go like this if I want to, and I can create a brand new transaction, and I can say this one has copper pipe, and I can go buy that one, and then of course we have the ability to toggle back and forth between the tickets, so I can build multiple tickets at the same time should I have multiple scales in front of me. And so if I had multiple scales, I could then rotate between the scales if I had multiple scales. So the system is rather flexible, and that covers your phase 1 ticket training. It's really pretty intuitive and fairly simple. If I were to go into settings, you could see I could set up my printers, my ID scanners, my barcode scanners, different settings for cashiers, different settings for my scale station, setting up cameras, and setting up the ability for the scale to talk to my software. So all of that is covered in here, which we'll cover in different videos. But for now, that covers phase 1 training, which was how do I run a ticket? And how do I start running test tickets? Of course, we'll clear out your test tickets before you go live, so feel free to just play around. You can't hurt the system, and until all your staff is trained. Hope you've enjoyed the video, and remember WeighPay. So advanced, it's simple.